Good day to my beloved supervisor, Dr. Dayang Aiza Maisha binti Abang Ahmad. I am Ariana Fidelia, an entrepreneur, and today I would like to present on my final year project entitled The Influence of Social Media on Academic Performance Among Undergraduate Students in UNIMAS. First of all, I would like to start with the background of study. So, social media is defined as a group of new online media that enable wider participation, openness, conversational, community, and connectedness, according to Mayfield 2008. The use of the internet, including social media, has become an integral part of people's daily lives in the 21st century by Sorensen 2014. Meanwhile, Nielsen 2012 stated that internet users in the United States of America continue to spend more time on social media than on any other category of websites, with total time spent on social media reaching 121 billion minutes in July 2012, up from 88 billion minutes in July 2011. Increased social media usage is a worldwide phenomenon. So, according to this study, the implied vulnerability of students in terms of inability to withdraw from the use of social media can lead to distractions from study, mismanagement of time or procrastination, excessive and other risk behaviors that may obstruct students' pursuit of academic success. This is according to ICMPA 2010. Next, moving on to the research questions and the research objectives. So, I will start with the research questions. The first research questions is, what is the most regularly used type of social media by students? Second one is, what is the influence between time spent on social media and academic performance? And the last research questions is, what is the influence between the plan of study and academic performance? So, I will move forward to research objectives. So, my first research objective is to identify what is the regularly used type of social media by students. And the second one is to identify the influence between time spent on social media and academic performance. And last one, to identify the influence between the plan of study and academic performance. As for problem statement, I have listed 3 of them, and I'm going to explain the first one, which is social media advancement and use. So basically, it means technology advancement had a significant impact on how people communicate in daily basis. Its popularity grown allow us to connect with people where it helps us to feel like we belong to the community. However, many people, especially scholars, have questioned whether the use of social media will affect on students' academic performance. The second one is time spent on social media. So the use of technology such as internet is an important factor that can influence students' academic performance. Next, moving on to the research questions and the research objectives. So, I will start with the research questions. The first research questions is, what is the most regularly used type of social media by students? Second one is, what is the influence between time spent on social media and academic performance? And the last research questions is, what is the influence between the plan of study and academic performance? So, I will move forward to research objectives. So my first research objective is to identify what is the regularly used type of social media by students. And the second one is to identify the influence between time spent on social media and academic performance. And last one, to identify the influence between the plan of study and academic performance. As for problem statement, I have listed 3 of them, and I'm going to explain the first one, which is social media advancement and use. So basically, it means technology advancement had a significant impact on how people communicate in daily basis. Its popularity grown allow us to connect with people where it helps us to feel like we belong to the community. However, many people, especially scholars, have questioned whether the use of social media will affect on students' academic performance. The second one is time spent on social media. So the use of technology such as internet is an important factor that can influence students' academic performance. This is proven because this is proven on the past study by Taswir on 2013, which stated that parents are worried that their children spending too much time on social media and not having enough time to study. So the last one is social media and academic performance. Okay. Students sometimes lose their ability to focus on their studies as a result of their social media engagement, which resulting in decline on their academic performance. Today's generation are said to be mostly technologically savvy. As a result, social media proves to be a great platform for everything, including exploring creativity to ensuring education among students. In terms of providing excellent educational guidance to the students in diverse manners, which assisting to great extent in finding new ideas, but to extent which the students are focusing and making use of scopes, as well as the influence on their academic performance. And the last one for the significance of study is it would be useful to identify which type of social media they utilize the most, as well as whether or not their time spent on social media has any influence on their academic performance. Next part is on the literature review. So these are the literature review that are included in my studies. So the first one is the uses of social media, second one is the time spending on social media, and the last one is the social media usage and academic performance. Okay, so past research by Brooke and Monica 2021, Akram and Kumar 2017, and Desmal 2017 was done mostly in developed countries to analyze the use of social media engagement to academic, and also impact of social media on students' academic performance. There are no published research studies where the impact of social media was studied on students' academic performance by considering their preference of social media sites, time spent on social media, and also their plan of study. So, in this present study, the impact of social media will be evaluated on students' academic performance by taking their preference of social media site, the time they spend daily on social media, and also their plan of study as moderating variables. So as for my conceptual framework, I decided to use Ishikawa model, which is a diagram developed by Kaoru Ishikawa that shows the causes of specific event. The variables of social media that may affect the students' academic performance are access to internet, usage of social media, their perception on social media, their frequency of using it. This model is also called as fishbone diagram. So with these variables, the present study will identify the impact of using social media to the academic performance of the respondents and will be able to draw recommendations that may improve the learning process and reduce the negative influence of social media specifically on their academic performance. Moving forward to research design. So this study employs a positivistic paradigm and quantitative data is collected through a questionnaire. Positivistic research paradigms are also known as quantitative, objectivist, scientific, and experimentalist or traditional research paradigm. This research design focus on measuring circumstances and includes the collection and analysis of numerical data as well as the application of statistical tests. So, the frequency of social media, which refers to the volume of social media use recurrence, and academic performance were the variables under investigation. The first variable is the use of social media. Moving on to the next part, which are sampling and data collection. So for sampling, I've chosen the snowball sampling. This is because it will be able to help researchers find samples when they are difficult to locate. This sample also works like a referral, which researcher once they find suitable respondent, the assistance in seeking similar population to form a considerably large sample. So as for data collection, I have decided to use questionnaires created from Google Form and distributed on various social media sites, especially WhatsApp and Facebook. The reason why I choose WhatsApp and Facebook, because WhatsApp, as we all know, WhatsApp nowadays are used for most of the educational institution nowadays to form a course group or any course group that are related with their study, so that it will be easier for the lecturers and the students to communicate. As for Facebook, I choose Facebook because my friends on Facebook are mostly UNIMA students. So this study I think that this study has no difficulties reaching the targeted respondents because it's considering advanced technology these days, which is social media for distributing questionnaire. Moving on to the next part, which is finding and analysis. There are 3 findings that I already found in this study based on the research questions that I've done. So the first one is the findings for the research question 1, which is to identify what is the regularly used type of social media by students. So the results depicted that the most regularly used type of social media among students is WhatsApp, which consists of 91 respondents, followed by Facebook, which consists of 71 respondents. The number of respondents using Telegram are 42. Meanwhile, 27 of the respondents mentioned that they use Twitter regularly. Lastly, the least use of social media is Snapchat, which is only 15 respondents said they are using it regularly. Kindly noted that this question is multiple answer. Each respondent can choose to select more than one answers. Next finding is based on research question 2, which is to identify the influence between time spent on social media and academic performance. For the second finding, I've analyzed the data using SPSS, or to be specific, by using chi-square. These are the results that I've already found. So the calculated chi-square value is 23.392, which is lower than the likelihood ratio value of 25.742. Hence, the null hypothesis, which states that students' time spent on social media have no significant influence on their academic performance, is hereby rejected. This implies that it really has a significant influence on their academic performance. For the last finding is based on research question 3, which is to identify the influence between the plan of study and academic performance. This part is also being analyzed by using SPSS, which is also chi-square. So the result was the chi-square value is 11.028, which is greater than the likelihood ratio value of 10.890. Hence, the null hypothesis, which states that students' time plan to study have no significant influence on their academic performance, is hereby accepted. This data was the proof that students' time plan of study has a significant influence on their academic performance. Next, I will conclude everything about this study. So the findings of this study and previous studies reveal some noteworthy results. The first independent variable influencing students' academic performance, namely social media participation, was significantly influenced by students' performance. The other independent variable were positively related to student outcomes, despite the fact that the plan of their study had no significant influence on their academic performance. Findings also suggested that lecturers can develop a template for how their students can optimize the effectiveness of social media, that academic and administrative staff implement rules and regulations regarding the utilization of social media in the educational institution, and for the government in hopes that they can apply effective control measures to monitor and control the use among students. Next, I will explain on the discussion that I found on this study. So the first one is the application of users and gratification theory in the study has aided in understanding that when it comes to preference, it always can be related with one's gratification needs. According to the study, most of the respondents answered that they use WhatsApp regularly. This is because of the features of the WhatsApp. As a student, WhatsApp serves as a platform for them to easily communicate with their peers and lecturers, especially regarding studies matter. They usually form a specific group for their courses, and through that group, they are always available to gain information from the lecturers and also gaining and sharing information with their peers. For the second one is on the student involvement theory. It focuses more on how motivated the student is and how much time and energy the student devotes to the learning process. In this study, students' time spent on social media and their plan of study was being related with their academic performance. The time spent on social media may lead to time mismanagement and procrastination. Their time spent on social media as well as their plan of study sometimes might interrupt their academic performance in a negative way because of their overly use of social media that might cause them to lose focus on their studies. The last part is on the limitations and recommendation. So for these limitations of study, I found that the CGPA data that was utilized by this research were self-reported by the participants. It is believed that this might have entailed some level of deficiency regarding valid or true scores, which may influence on the overall results of the study. As for future research or recommendation for the future researcher, I suggested for the future researcher to switching to qualitative method, because researcher will have more expensive and unique answers since it is more subjective, and non-standardized data will be studied through text instead of number. So, next one for future recommendations is consider specific social media sites such as WhatsApp, Facebook, or Instagram, and future researcher may also consider a broader scope in order to collect more data from different populations. As in this study, I only use the undergraduate students from the University of Malaysia Sarawak as my population, but as for the future researcher, I may recommend them to include the students from all university in Sarawak or even Malaysia, so that the population will be larger than this study.